This segment of Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you by the Daily Herald.
I am here with head coach Pat New of the Benet football team, the seventh-year head coach for this team, coming off a semifinal visit here in the 7A playoffs. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So first thing I want to ask you, semifinals this year, can you compare this and the 2012 team?
I think the biggest difference between the two is in 2012 we were coming off of a 1-8 season, and so it was kind of a surprise that whole year, a pleasant surprise. And then in 2016 we set a pretty high standard this year. We wanted to win conference and win state, and so our expectation level was much higher this year. So I think the whole process was much less surprising than it was back in 2012.
Yeah. So you reel off 6 in a row after that and get to 6-1. What do you think was the biggest difference from your second game on after that first game?
Well, I think the biggest thing was, I've always thought these guys know how to, they find a way to win. And I also knew I felt early in the season, our offense, we kind of put everything in the summer. And I think we were trying to catch up to the learning curve. And then we were able to do that as the season went on. So I knew the offense would come around, and it eventually did.
And you talk about the offense now, defense, so many guys that could take away the football, force turnovers. What was it like to have so many playmakers on the defensive side of the football?
Yeah, it was nice. I mean, anytime you have, we had 9 starting seniors on defense, and they're all great football players. So we had a lot of depth, and so that wasn't surprising either that they had such a great season for us.
What will you remember most about that senior class this year?
Probably just, I think the one characteristic that comes up in my mind is just their ability to win and their will to win. Never really panicked in close games and found a way. And even against East St. Louis, we're down 8-0 at half. I had full confidence that we would find a way somehow against them.
What was said after the game to you? How do you address seniors, juniors? How do you address everybody kind of after the season's over? How do you approach that?
Well, I think this year it was interesting. I was, obviously you're emotional. I look at the players, their season's done, and we were 1 game short of what we wanted to accomplish. And one of the things I mentioned to him was, you guys have created a legacy for yourselves. And I kind of joked with some of the guys who were talking about 2012, and I said, you guys, I'll talk about 2016 now to the next years, and they'll get sick of me talking about the 2016 team.
Yeah.
So,
was there a defining moment during the regular season, do you think, for this team that maybe propelled the success that you had for a game?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I look at those early games. I think beating Notre Dame was huge. We were looking at 0-2, and we found a way to win on a last-second field goal. And then after that, and Marion Central Catholic was the same way. We had a goal line stand to win the game in the last minute of the game. So I think really it's probably early on finding a way to win those weeks 2 and 3 was kind of the thing that shot us forward.
Now you talk about 9 seniors on defense losing. Going to next year, how do you approach having to replace so many positions?
Well, I think we've got some really good juniors and sophomores first of all, and those guys have worked hard, and I think we've got a lot of guys that can step in and fill some of those spots. We'll have a lot of senior starters again next year. I actually prefer to have guys grow up and develop them in the program and have a senior heavy team. I think they're more invested, they're more mature, obviously, and I just think it really helps a program to have a senior led team.
So what was your favorite part of this season? Was there, maybe not for the team, but was there a moment that you knew that you guys really could make this type of run?
I think it was probably once we got into the playoffs. Okay. I really wanted to beat Marist. We had 2 goals: win conference, win state. We just missed the conference with the loss to Marist. But then once we got into the playoffs, I thought Normal and Rolling Meadows were 2 just awesome games for us. I thought we played well. I felt the excitement level was there. I sensed the excitement level in our team, and so that was probably to me the highlight of the season.
When you set your goals at the beginning of the season, you hear, like you said, winning state, winning conference. How do you approach that with, if there are processes to get to those goals, or do you is it an end goal, I guess you could say?
Yeah, it varies. Some years, we'll focus on your next, just worry about your next game, your next play. This year, though, I just felt that I just wanted to set the standard high and say, these are our expectations this year. Let's try to meet those expectations. And like I said, we came up just short on both of them, but we were awfully close.
Especially if the talent's there, you set that high goal right away.
Yeah, exactly.
And now when playoffs come around, how do you maybe calm the players and maybe you can see get a little worked up at practice and stuff? Is there anything you notice differently in preparation or at practice, anything like that?
Practice, we actually cut back a little bit in terms of time, but we cut out some of the fundamental sessions. And then as far as the motivation side of things, one of the things we focused on was kind of, really talking to the seniors about, this play every game like it's going to be your last game, because it could be.
Yeah.
And if you play every game like it's going to be your last game, it won't be. So, and I think that really resonated with these guys. And they didn't want the season to end. They enjoy playing football with each other, and they and so I think we all kind of took that attitude and would have loved one more game. And so.
Can you give us any little preview for next year, guys, that maybe us or the fans don't really know about that they're sophomore level, freshman level coming up?
Well, we've got, I think we'll be bigger up front. We've got some big linemen coming up from the younger levels, which is a good thing. We've got some skill positions coming back in Jack Eschenbach and Nick Keyes and Ben Cooney. And then, Matt Boyle, I thought when he stepped in against Marist, one of the best defenses in the state, and led our team about 80 yards or 50, 60 yards for a touchdown against Marist, which I thought was really impressive. So I think Matt's going to be a great addition to our team. And then defensively, we're led by Devin Peterson at middle linebacker and Ben Cooney at corner. But then there'll be a lot of sophomores and juniors who will be able to step up and fill those other spots next year.
A lot of battles at camp.
Yeah, exactly.
Going on.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping.
Now, my favorite question I ask any coach: how would you define yourself as a coach?
Interesting. I'll tell you, I enjoy what I do. I love it, and I have a lot of fun. And I have fun coaching. I have fun with the players. I could do that. I love doing this every day. And so I'd say, I'm not certainly not, I don't consider myself a militaristic leader. Yeah. More of a guy that just likes to go have fun with his players and his team and his coaching staff. And now I'm blessed with a great coaching staff too. So and I love working with those guys and love working with our players.
When you first started coaching, did you know what type of style you wanted to do, or did it just kind of happen? What kind of style you wanted?
Yeah, it changes. And I think I remember growing up, and I was an assistant coach for years, obviously over at Naperville North, and then at Benet. And I probably read 100 books on coaching, and but I think it just happens. And one of the things I learned in researching coaching was just be yourself. And so I don't think you can try to be someone else. Everybody has to be themselves to be a successul coach, I think.
And last question I want to ask you, is there somebody that was a big influence on you for your coaching career?
Well, I think one of my coaching mentors was Larry McEwen from Naperville North. He, in fact, I actually talked to him before playing East St. Louis, and I said, hey, let's get together. If we beat East St. Louis, I'd love to pick your brain on championship week planning, because he's been there 3 times as a head coach. And so he texted me the day we lost and said, sorry, we're not getting together tomorrow. It would have been nice, but so I was there 7 years with Coach McEwen. He had a lot of success, and so I'd probably consider him, along with a couple guys I've worked with at Benet, Coach Goforth and Coach Cedarblade.
Well, hopefully next year you get one more game in there, get to the state final, and congrats on a great season this year, and good luck next year.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.